Look, a lot of you out there are not going to like the way that this video goes. For you, for me, period. You're not going to like it. You might not like it, okay? You may not agree with the takes that I'm going to be giving. You may think that I'm totally full of it, and I guess you can have your opinion, but here's the thing. You were wrong about Silver Age. I was also wrong about Silver Age. We as a community were too quick to jump down the throats of LSS with regards to the ban and restricted announcement, specifically because of this guy. Look, we all saw the ban announcement. We saw what happened to Briar, and we said, why did that not happen to the other best deck in the format in the form of KO? And we kind of assumed. We assumed that the old adage of just go figure it out, or the best players will rise to the top and come up with answers, we thought that was a crock of crap. At least I did. I did not expect much to change. I thought this was going to be the best deck in the format going forward, but here's the thing. KO is still very powerful, still very well represented, but has steadily and surely fallen down the totem pole closer to the field because people are actually beginning to answer the deck. And I shouldn't even say beginning. They just plain are answering the deck. KO is no longer the one deck that all others bow to. There's far more on the table that can be snatched up as far as meta share is concerned. And I want to prove this to you. So let's go ahead and take a look at where it really all began. This was post-ban restricted announcement. This was the showdown on Sunday in Toulouse. And this was the moment that we all agreed that KO was the problem. This was the 5 KO top 8 with a Kano tucked in there, an Ira, and a Vinset. This was massive, and everyone saw this, and everyone acknowledged what was going on. It was a one-deck format that didn't necessarily leave room to combat it, especially when you look at the top 4. But let's take a look at the following week. This is the Sunday showdown that took place. If I go back, I'll show you, and it takes a while to load. This was the Sunday showdown for... There we go, the calling in Brisbane. So again, if we go forward back into the calling in Brisbane, and we take a look at the top 8, it was not won by KO. There were many KOs in representation, and I'm not going to shy away from that. KO still very represented, still very good. 4 instead of 5 this time, but we see the meta being answered, or at least being attempted to be answered. And of course, Dash did end up winning this event, so it wasn't won by KO. That's not to say that KO is not a good deck. Obviously, it put 4 copies in the top 8. It was the most represented deck, and so you would expect it to have success, and it did indeed find success. It just didn't win. Do you put all your stock into one event, though, into one win? No, not at all. This is not a one result kind of judgment that we're making. Oldham was there as well, Ira was there as well, Riptide. All of these are actually great ways to answer KO in different respects. And they were all trying to, find that KO matchup and answer it. And then we go further. Now, if your name is Peter Bedinsik, then you win on KO. But take a look at last weekend's, I should say, not even at this point last weekend, 2 weekends ago, the showdown in Memphis. KO, of course, took it down because Peter Bedinsik is a boss, but there were only 2 KOs, and the other one being Alex 4. I loved this top 8 because, of course, the 2 Wizard players are now playing KO. 1 letter off Kano, but they stuck with KO, and in this case, rightfully so. But look at what else is in the top 8. Ira, Valda. You've got Florian, Ira again, and Oldham. The meta well and truly is shifting, and it's shifting against KO in a way that I think I did not expect to happen. I did not expect to see the amount of success on other heroes that we were seeing because KO was so, in my mind, problematic. But it continues to this past weekend because, of course, the inaugural Battlegrounds tournament hosted by none other than MinMax Games looked like this in the top 8. You had Icelander, you had Volda, you had 2 Kanos, you had an Oldhim, an Ira of Florian, and a singular copy of KO. Now, that singular copy of KO did make it to the semifinals, but lost to a stack Florian. And yes, indeed, if you were wondering, Kano did find their way into the top matchup, into that finals matchup, and this right here is actually a really solid matchup for Kano, and indeed the event was won by Jeremy Stowe on Kano. But I went and tried to find as many other results from these battlegrounds that I could, so I'm going to show you them across many different tabs very quickly. Unfortunately, if I click on this one, this is over on Twitter. Maybe I can just move the Google Chrome screen just for now. If I just slide this over, then you can actually see what... Oh, no, it's just cut off. Of course it is, because we do things live. There we go. You can just see what we have here. So this was the top 8. There it is right there. You've got a Kano, you've got a Bravo Flattering Showman that showed up. That's kind of crazy. You've got an Ira. You have the exact same Florian player in the finals of the previous inaugural Battleground on the previous day here at the Green Tree Sports Cards event. You have the new, I shouldn't even say new, it's really the old school version of Dorinthia, most likely, I would imagine. I'm just assuming here because so many people I think are now shifting away from Decimator Great Axe because it doesn't have the defensive capabilities, and now Dory's kind of going back to the attack reaction old school style. At least the ones that I've been playing against have been shifting to that and finding good success because you can kind of combat via the attack reactions a lot of these heroes that don't want to block. And then you had another Kano, you had the Hair on Fire offense of Dash, and a second copy of Florian. And it came down to that matchup between Florian, the stack Florian, and the crazy out of nowhere, if you haven't been following it, Rise of Dorinthia, and it ended up being taken down by Florian. B. Budnick took it down on Florian, and that's not the last time I'll be saying that, because over in Poland, another one was also taken down by Florian. If I just zoom out, does it make this easier? I guess, yeah, it does. I should just have done that from the start. This is all on Twitter, by the way. I found all of this on Twitter, and I tried to find as many results as I could, but it's hard to find these if they're not in a central location. So LSS, post all these so that we can see these top 8s, because I will tell you right now, as I watched some of these results roll in, I was aghast. Well, that's the wrong word, because aghast indicates that I'm, upset or shocked or, like it's a bad thing. No, I was excited because here we have Volda versus Volda in the 1 and 8. And then you've got Florian, which is going to win that semifinals. You've got the old school Oldhim. You've got Riptide, which showed up. Then you have 2 Iras and you have a Briar. The rumors of Briar's death greatly exaggerated until they got, of course, over to the semifinals where they did indeed die to an Ira. And continuing on, this was also won by a Florian. Florian showing very consistently in a lot of these top 8 results. And then over in, Japan, you've got Flori and winning again. Yeah, Florian, quite good. But look at this top 8. You've got Florian versus Oldhim. You've got Oldhim versus a singular KO. Hey, you remember this video is about KO? I just mentioned KO finally again. Then you've got Dorinthia again versus Oldhim, and then Volda versus Icelander. And it was eventually won by Florian. But it's not all the Florian show, because this top 8 I'm about to show you is perhaps the most brain-busting top 8. Look at this. Look at this. It's Ira, 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 Ira. It's Icelander, it's Dorinthia, and the entire event, of course, as you would expect, was won by Riptide, because Riptide is insanely good against Ninja. In fact, I would argue that Riptide is insanely good against most of the meta that is not named Guardian. It does indeed, though, get bent over a barrel by Guardian, which is unfortunate. But Riptide, if you're playing into a meta with not only Ninja, and maybe you're playing into a meta with like Dorinthia, and you're playing into a meta with KO, then this guy, it might be his time. Now, you may be like rolling your eyes because I've said that before, but I don't even care, because that is a win right there for Mr. Riptide. And it begs the question, where do we stand on a tier list style of rankings? Because this right here is what I would have described these heroes that I all just mentioned. I would have described these heroes like this at the beginning of this banned and restricted sort of new season. And I would be wrong, because this is not how it stands anymore. I would argue that Ira is now toe-to-toe with KO in the S tier. The representation for Ira has gone up significantly, and its results are going up as well. Ira, quite a good answer to the meta at large, and also doing pretty well, clearly has to be, into KOs, because KO is the highest meta share deck. But these other heroes are doing quite well as well. I really do think Florian is also one of those heroes that could sniff in that top zone. Now, there's going to be people that sit here and complain, why do you have multiple people in the S tier category? Is that safe for one deck? I don't think you can say that anymore. I do truly still believe KO is BDIF in some way, shape, or form, but the gap that used to exist when it was like this is no longer. It really truly does feel like this to me. And then I feel pretty comfortable putting Dash up here. I feel pretty comfortable putting Valda, and I feel pretty comfortable putting Oldhim. In fact, I probably would shift these over here. I think Dash is a fantastic aggro deck now, alongside of some other heroes that you might kind of consider. There's Fi is quite popular as well, though not really converting. I think this feels great. Now, where does Kano go? Kano has a fantastic matchup into KO. Well, no, that's not true. Kano has a coin flip matchup into KO. Kano has an abysmal matchup into Ira, has a fantastic matchup into Florian, has a solid matchup into Valda if they don't absolutely blow you up. It absolutely eats up Oldhim, and then it is basically burned to a crisp versus Dash, who runs it over with no remorse whatsoever. So where does Kano sit? Probably at the end of A tier, personally. This feels like a deck you only pick up and run out there if you know the meta, or if you just feel like you're just going to find the reds on the top of the deck. Every time you do it, you're just going to find them on the top of the deck. If that's how you feel about your life, then congratulations, you have yourself a nice pick here. But what does this mean to you? It means that you, maybe, like me, missed the mark. And that is okay. But if you're trying to get back into Silver Age, if you've humbled yourself enough to acknowledge this format is actually far better and far more open and available than you might have thought before, then I have a wonderful proposition for you. Why don't you join me in preparing for the viewing pleasure that will be Pro Tour Yokohama, where Silver Age will be part of the event, and watch alongside of me the final event for Silver Age before the big dance, and that's going to be the Calling Shanghai. Now, that is going to be streamed in its local language, so it will be streamed in Chinese, but if you would like to stay up late with me, I am going to host an English restream where me and a couple of buddies are going to sit back, relax, engage with you in chat, maybe even give something away, and talk all about Silver Age. I will be bringing you a restream here on this channel, all covering Silver Age, and I am so excited to do so because this format is exciting once again. So if you want to hang out with me, and if you want to hang out with Dice Commando, and if you want to hang out with Ashen Wings TCG and talk all things Silver Age while we watch the games play, well, I've got the place for you right here. It's going to be Friday night to Saturday morning. It's going to be Saturday night to Easter Sunday morning, and it's going to be a blast. So if you want to watch more Silver Age and you want to see this format truly take shape, of course, stay here, locked in, sailing along with me as we ride the waves of the TCG space. If you like this type of thing, make the number go to the other number, because that's what we do here. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.